The subject of today's video was suggested to me from a viewer. I think that is great, and I think that's exactly what I need more and more and more of. So I would encourage you, anyone watching this video or subscribing to this channel, or ideally both, I would love to hear any questions you have or subjects you'd like me to cover, because ultimately this channel is for you and your learning pleasure. So I would love to hear from you, and I will definitely do everything I can to cover the subjects that you're interested in and try to add something different that you might not get from the other YouTube channels that are covering similar subjects. So today I want to talk about polyrhythms, and specifically playing 2 beats with the left hand and adding other odd groupings of beats on top of that. So now, the most basic version of this, in my opinion, would be eighth notes and eighth note triplets. This is something that you've probably played at least once or twice if you are a moderate to advanced drummer. So now, if this was labeled a polyrhythm, I would call it 2-3, because we've got 2 beats here are eighth notes, and 3 beats here are eighth note triplets. So we got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Simple, right? All right, so now what if we go to stranger groupings, or larger groupings, or both? How about 5? So the way I would think about this is that your left hand is playing essentially a half note. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's still 2 beats, but I'm thinking of it like a half note, so that I can think of this hand as just adding a certain grouping of beats spread out evenly in one measure, and this is keeping my one measure together. So here you go, that's your 2 beats. We're going to add 5 to that. All right, so that would be 2 and 5. And again, you can hear how that second note you play with your left hand has to kind of go somewhere seemingly random between some of the beats that you're playing with your right hand. It's not random, but when you're trying to find that pocket, it's a lot harder to do so than it would be when you're playing something with an even amount of beats, or when you're not doing a polyrhythm and everything you do is part of one set of counting, or one way of counting. So now, if we went from 5 to 6, all of a sudden it's easy again, because now we're at an even number. Easy enough. So now, what if we wanted to do 7? Gotta get that steady first. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, you might be thinking of it like 7/8. For example, I've got 2 beats here, and if I'm thinking of 7 eighth notes to the first beat and 7 eighth notes to the second one, okay, fine. 14/8, 7/4. You know, in a way, it's natural when you think of it that way, but you're not going to have time to think about it that way in this scenario, because you're trying to transition from one to the other and make it feel natural, if it can. So again, what if we wanted to do 5s, 6, 7s? So I encourage you to practice 2 and 5 together, 2 and 7 together, and use 2 and 6 as a transition, because again, when you're working with an even grouping, it's natural and there's no weird cross rhythm. So you want to, again, look at least one of the beats as your tempo keeper. And when one of these numbers is an even number, it's a lot easier to do that because, again, you're thinking of it like half notes or like quarter notes or something. And then you just have to squeeze a particular amount of beats into a particular space. So whether you're counting or trying to figure out the math that goes behind this or not, when it comes down to it, if you can hear the amount of space in your measure and you can hang on to your tempo no matter what else is going on, then all you need to do is kind of mess around with this grouping until it feels right. That's kind of what we all do all the time. Just mess around until we're playing music. See if it works.